Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back. It is Wednesday, the 28th of January, and today is two things. Today is me wanting to do a little bit of a general recap and revision of all things to do with electricity and circuits, but I'm also very aware that today is Cambridge Offer Day. And so I'm expecting if anyone shows up, that might be something we discuss as well. So I thought I'd stick that in the title and kind of like give you guys an opportunity to drop in. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to let me know. And as always, I'm very happy to pivot for whoever shows up. This is more like, oh, we already got someone they got in. Congratulations, man. Oh, I was so convinced he flopped. I don't know, like, because this is the thing. I can't remember specific usernames, but I remember certain people from like different streams sort of saying like, oh, it like went so badly, and I'm like, I don't know, it didn't sound like it went that badly, and like, yeah, well done. It's such a good feeling. Yeah, honestly, one of the best days of your academic career is when you kind of get that offer. But I'll also add, because not everyone gets their offers. I know, in fact, I've got a reply to this email. I got an email in from someone saying that they didn't get the offer. But the way I sort of think you should always approach missing an offer is that you put in a bid for what you were going to be able to achieve with the work-life balance you wanted. So yes, you could maybe have like worked extra hard to get over the line, but that extra effort, you would have needed to put that effort in the entire degree just to get by. So actually missing out on an offer is not a bad thing, because it means that with your backup, you can focus on a much better work-life balance and still achieve towards the top of your year, which ends up looking really impressive anyway. So there's not really a bad result today. There might be a disappointing one, obviously, if you had your heart set on Cambridge, but in the grand scheme of things, everything kind of balances out. You are very welcome. You're very welcome for the streams, for the problem solving skills. That's obviously like the admission stuff is something I obviously really enjoy doing, which is kind of like why I started the channel in the first place. Going through the admissions tests, which are like fun and challenging, and then how to do the interview skills. Now, obviously, we've kind of pivoted, right? You get a sense of like how this job, because I go through this like year after year, it's very much two cycles. There's the summer cycle, sort of between January and the summer exams in June. We're like really preparing for those. And the second those finish, it's right on again, trying to go for the admissions cycle. And so, which is why when it hits January, like apologies for not doing a live solve this week. Like it's just been, January for me is like not it. January for me is fully just like power saving mode, Patrick. I am just trying to just get through. I am building nothing. I am chill. I am calm. I am relaxed. People come in. We do sessions. They leave. And so I'm kind of just going through the motions on that. Oh, someone saying didn't get it, but thank you for your graph sketching. Learned a lot. Like I say, oh, we got another offer. Love to see it. Like I just said, though, don't worry about not getting an offer, because then your plan B is always come towards the top third of your year in your backup university. Like, and that is actually a really good life path, because not everyone, like I say, if you don't get an interview, like an offer from Cambridge, it's them saying they don't know that this system would have been best for your learning style. So really don't sweat it. There's really like no bad options. It's just a case of doing your best in wherever you're going to be. And chances are, if you're going for Cambridge, you're not ending up at a bad university, right? So making the most of it, still meeting your offer. So like you still want to put the all the work in. And this goes for everyone, really. Putting the work in now so that the summer results go well, so that you actually meet the offers you get is so important. And obviously, the Oxbridge admissions campaign takes up quite a lot of effort. So you spend a lot of time in September and October prepping for that ESAT, and then you spend the rest of that time dealing with interview stuff. It can often detract from your studies. And what you don't want is to get the offer, realize you haven't really been paying attention, and then miss the offer because you've been too busy trying to get the offer, which is why we now immediately pivot and kind of think, right, summer cycle, exam time, how are we going to make sure these offers actually convert? Oh, I used to go now, but thank you again. No worries, sir. You can catch me on catch up. You know where to find me. Offers 3A stars. That's brutal, man. That's a tough one. I didn't think they were allowed to give that. I thought they had to give A star, A star, A. So yeah, tough, especially if that's math for the math physics. So yeah, now it's just a case of staying on the grind and making sure these offers convert. Obviously, if anyone else joins, very happy to hear how you guys have done. Also, let me know if you're having any particular issues, wondering how to pivot. Also with motivation, because if you're like me, like you've hit January and you're like, I've just done such a huge block of work, you just need to just calm down. And whether you guys are feeling the same way I'm feeling, where it's like, oh God, just get there, just get there. Because I was always, I was never someone who like was exam revision schedule and kind of to the letter and stuff. I was always like, when the mood strikes me, I shall revise. And so January is a bit dead. And then like as things start, you start feeling it on the horizon. You're like, oh, there it is. There it is. Gotta get going now. And eventually you kick in if you're like me. Phys chem math. Chemistry is hard. Chemistry is hard, but for very different reasons. Like in GCSE, chemistry, physics, and math kind of, well, maybe not math, but the chemistry and the physics, you can kind of do them wearing the same hat. In A level, they are so different. Like in A level, you gotta just know stuff for chemistry. Like there is some understanding underlying it, but most of the time it's just, you just gotta know it. So yeah, I think like, story time. So I actually applied to Cambridge thinking I was going to be a chemist. So I was doing math for the math, physics, chemistry, along with some other A levels. And for me, chemistry was like my number one because I had like phenomenal teachers that I got along with so well. And then I got to Cambridge, and I swear to God, the second we started university level organic chemistry, I was like, peace, done, not doing this. Absolutely not. Because there comes a point where it just sort of turns into stamp collecting, where you just got to know stuff, and I don't want to know things. I like understanding things. So I don't know if you find it the same, but like, just all the practice papers, man, all the practice papers, and you're gonna be fine. So you guys can keep the comments coming in as and when you want. I've got a session in 50 minutes, so I'm just going to kind of keep this short and sweet. My plan for today is to run through, I've got a little A-level textbook here to hand. I haven't done a huge amount of prep on like questions, but I realized actually that when it comes to the live solves, that's when I really like to do math. Math is just fun to solve for an audience. Physics is a bit like, oh, you're sitting me here, like watching me write out all of my arguments. And it's kind of, also the A-level paper, it just wasn't as fun. The multiple choice was good. So maybe I'll include how to do the multiple choice across multiple years or multiple boards. But in terms of teaching, so like the live solves, the math, I really, really prefer. On the teaching side, it's actually physics that I prefer doing, because math, it's more skills-based. You just sort of, when I'm doing a math session, I'm like, all right, do this question, do this question, do this question. But you can't really do that here because I can't make you do questions. I can't see you. So I think physics will be fun for me to kind of do these seminars, run through a topic, and kind of run it as if you have the exam tomorrow. What are the sorts of things I think are the most important parts of the syllabus that you should really hang on to? More comments. Someone saying, I personally find chem and phys harder than further math. Hot take. Hot take there. I think it depends on your brain. Further math, also, people really don't talk about this enough. Further math is just wildly different than single math, because single math, you can kind of intuit your way through it just fine as long as you understand the core essentials. But further math is like just hard for hard's sake. Sometimes you don't necessarily get that same payoff of getting the solution. And like further math, you can kind of mostly do without touching your formula book at all if you're prepared enough. But with further math, it's like, all right, where are the formula book? You're like, it's your crutch. There's so much extra stuff you just gotta know and know to look in your formula book for. And the execution, even if you understand it, the equations are so complicated and the answers can be so weird that they trigger that sense of like, oh, something's wrong here. Because in the normal math, if you get a funny answer, chances are you actually made a mistake because the answers are quite nice. In the further math, not so. So I actually find that further math is like really tricky in a very, very particular way. Someone else said, yeah, physics and chemistry, you're on the boundary of the A star, which makes you stressed to meet the offer. Yep. Yep. What I would say is like, if you do every single past paper, like, okay, so you consider the live solve that I did for the physics the other day. I know the physics syllabus. I'm pretty good with the physics syllabus, but I didn't get 100% because my exam technique wasn't necessarily the best because I'm a bit out of practice. I haven't done the summer exams in a while. You have to really like know what the syllabus wants from you, which requires you to do a lot of past papers, specifically mark scheme analysis. If you do a lot of mark scheme analysis between now and the summer, that could really make all the difference in terms of that grade boundary going from the A to the A star. So chemistry, knowing your definitions is so crucial, exactly how they want it worded. But even with the physics, there was a question where like I worded it the way I liked it, but they didn't like it. So mark scheme analysis, I think, is how to play that game. Last year's further mechanics paper for Edexcel had the weirdest numbers ever. Yeah, and you never feel satisfied. You're like, is that it? Is it? And you kind of walk out of the exam like, I don't know about that one. Like, not great. 1 year MEI had 91% for an A star in further math. Wow. So the boundaries vary quite a lot. Yep. Yep. Which again is why exam technique really matters, because you never know which mark is going to make the difference. Someone saying, my friends do both physics and further math. Everyone agrees physics is significantly harder. Interesting. The grade boundary for A star and AQA physics is like 60%. Well, no, okay. That's different. That's because AQA in the last few years has decided to just become like, to just go off the wall crazy with their papers. Like a lot of the times, you walk out, I swear, you should look this up, guys. I promise you it is gold. Look up like Twitter reactions, like student Twitter on the day of AQA Physics Paper 2 every year for the last 3 years. Because Paper 2, they just decided to just go diabolical with it. Bad, bad, bad. I mean, at least funny reactions, right? Funny memes, but not great, because I've had students go through that and it's just not fun. So I would say that the physics is not so bad, but sometimes doing the paper is just insane. Oh, Chem had a 91% boundary as well. AQA goes off the rails. OCR has a lot of errors, and Edexcel is weird. That's the take on physics. Edexcel is weird. I also think the Cambridge CIE is weird, which may be what someone was saying before. No, that's the MEI. I don't know the MEI. But the CIE can be really weird because you also get like 5 or 6 papers. It's just wild. AQA is, I think, the most common one. So Pearson Edexcel is much more common for math, and OCR is the main chemistry board, and AQA is the main physics board. Oh, MEI is just OCRB. Fair enough. But yeah, no, AQA has just been ridiculous the last few years. Oh, hello. Apologies, I'm being interrupted by my little neighborhood cat. I don't own a cat, but there's a cat who likes to chill out in my living room. And I think this cat is asking to leave. So apologies, I will cut this out of the stream, but I am just going to let the cat out real quick. So I promise I'll be back in a sec. Typical. The cat's been in all day, and she chooses to, like, the second I start, let's see the cat. Listen, this is not my cat. I have been scratched and clawed up by this cat before. I have learned the rules. The rules are, he can touch you, but you can't touch him. he can touch you, you cannot touch him. So I've tried that. So there's been times where, like, I'll be sitting on my sofa, and he's sitting on a chair. He looks at me, he goes, no, I want on that. So he kind of gets on the sofa, crawls into my lap, and I go, oh, well, that's consent to start petting you, right? No. Starts hissing at me, clawing at me. I'm like, all right, you sit on me. That's fine. So it's just typical. Literally been in since like noon, maybe, and I'm like, you got to go at some point, man. Like, you got to go to the bathroom. You do not have a litter box here. And of course, the second I start shooting, it's like, and now I shall take my leave. I'm like, all right. Sorry, getting back on it. So MEI is just OCRB. It's only for math and further math. There's OCRB as well for